Oh, hello, I didn't see you there. It seems that you've caught me playing with thyself. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, or whatever time zone it is, wherever you in the world, it is your Lore Saviour, and welcome to another episode of the Playing with Thyself podcast, where this sad British Goth boy plays TTRPGs by himself, and we're going to focus on another one-shot today. The last time we were seagulls, well, singular seagull, I should say, but this time we are a bee that doesn't live very long, that is either going to get killed off, die through poisoning, or just some other horrific means. Now that sounds pretty apocalyptic to me, but if anything, it is romantic goth and highly political, if you just give it a moment's thought for a moment. But what is the game in question? Well, today's game is Take Flight, Little Bee, and the reason why I'm focusing on this is purely because it is a game that my partner made and I wanted to showcase it for them, and with their consent. So that's why we're here. But how did this game come into fruition? Well, in January 2024, in the year of our Lord Talos, they partook in an event on the site formerly known as Twitter, where they were to design a TTRPG where its rules and mechanics could only be 24 words in length, which it's incredibly difficult, which I know because I attempted this and gave up pretty quickly. But my partner persevered and developed what I think is a very, very sad and yet very short and enjoyable experience. And if that sounds intriguing to you already, I shall leave a link in the description below for you to go and download that and for you to try out. And they designed the whole shebang, like they did the artwork, they obviously designed the game, and also they designed the font that you saw on the thumbnail and you're going to see pop up on the screen now as I say the words names, red, clan, and penis. But moving swiftly onwards, what does this game entail? You are a bee. You must fly desperately. Your world is dying. Wild bees are endangered, even though they are vital to our ecosystem. Human interference is the cause of habitat destruction and famine among the insects. Their predators, though, thrive. The life expectancy of a wild bee is 4 to 8 weeks. Can you survive long enough to breed and pass on your legacy? Well, that's what we're going to decide to do here, I guess, through this. We're going to see how long we can survive, or even if we can survive at all. So, what do we actually need for this? Well, we have 3 stats, and we need a D6, a D4, or a D3, it says, or you can use a 1D6 and halved. I do actually have a D3, which, for me at least, looks like a D6 that goes up to 3. Now, as I'm doing this solo, there are 4 encounters, that's what the D4's for, but as I'm doing this solo, I'm going to need something to generate some, to interpret said prompt, so I know kind of what to expect, and for this, I'm going to be using the Mythic Game Master Emulator 2nd edition by Tanner Pigeon. It's a fantastic resource if you're doing solo stuff, and you can check that out in the description below for you to, purchase if you wish, and if you buy it using the link below, I get some of the money back because I'm an affiliate there, which is very helpful for purchasing more games and books to do lore dives and whatnot. So check out that in the description below. So without further ado, let us click our pen, scribble out some notes, some God knows when, and let's roll our stats using our D6 to determine our 3 stats: flight, food, and health. So starting at the top, let's roll for flight. 5. Okay, so that's a pretty good start there. Just write that down. Flight 5. Okay, let's turn on that pen again. Let's roll the D6 to determine our food. 4. Okay, so this is we got quite a chunky bee. And finally, we have health. 5. Okay. Now, but that's not all, because we can actually decide a different type of bee, and there's 5 of them to choose from, most of which I'm going to pronounce incorrectly. We have the Osama oralanta, I'm going to put these on screen as well so you can read along at home, the Andrina agalaisma, the Exterity frontalis, the bumblebee, and the Zelicupa violaxica. I don't know how to say any of them, so I'm sure there's going to be people in the comments below that's going to correct me, for which I don't care. Give me the engagement. Now, there's 5 of here, and I could roll a d6 to determine which one and ignore the result of a 6, but I actually have a d5. It's a hideous little thing. It comes as part of the infamous Uggo set, and which you can find in the description below. So I'm going to roll this d5, and that's going to be our B. Now, these don't have any stats or anything. They just have cute artwork, and it's just some contextual flavour. And I rolled a 4. So, oh, look at that. I'm on a bumblebee. So we are a fat bumblebee. Let's write that cunt down. Okay, so now we roll 7 encounters using our d4. And the encounters are destruction, climate, predator, famine. So, lovely stuff. And depending on the scenario, we either endure 1d3 to health or food, depending on the context, or flee, which is a -1 in flight. So, technically speaking, you only win if you survive. So we'll see what happens. So, I have the d4 now, so let us roll. 1. So encounter number 1, it is destruction. Now, abstract like this, our little bumblebee, we don't know what's going to go on. So this is where I'm going to turn to Mythic. And there are so many random tables here, like it can make anybody who likes tables bust a nut. So we're going to use the meaning tables action 1 and action 2. I'm going to roll twice using a D100. I should mention actually that the regular dice are yellow and black, because of course they have to be, because we're dealing with fucking bees, innit? So there are 2 sets of tables here for this particular meanings tables, action 1 and action 2. D100, roll it twice to come up with some options to try and work out what the distraction is going to entail. Oh, isn't that a lovely tune there? Okay, so we got the result of 11 for the first table, and that is befriend. An interesting one there. 91 for the second table, and that is time. Befriend time. The way I'm interpreting this here, befriend time, that this bee is being quite... it's collecting pollen, as bees tend to do. And it's taking its good old time there, and it's really enjoying it, maybe in the presence of other bees, but then all of a sudden, some snot-filled brat comes along and punts these flowers out of the way. Not intentionally, per se, but, just like kicking about, and just hits the poor bee, which is, pretty unfortunate here. So, that to me makes sense. It's going to be a detraction in health, or whatever the fucking word is. So we're going to roll on D3. 1. So that now takes us down to 4 health. Okay, so for the second encounter, as our little bee flies away after being punted by some kid, roll the D4. We got a 2, which is climate. So, because of what we just said before, I'm interpreting this as a nice summer's day, which is completely different to what's going on at the moment, where it looks like it's going to absolutely piss it down, because of course it is. We're in England, bruv, innit? So we're going to take on D100 again, and use Mythic to determine what this entails. 98 for the first table, and we have use, and 1. Advantage. Use advantage. Well, that to me seems pretty straightforward. I'm gonna cheat a little bit with this one. Well, bend it, but this is what came to mind. Use advantage. We're in a garden, and I imagine that the boy's mother or grandparent is taking advantage of, I don't know, watering their plants with like a big old hose and just spraying it back and forwards. But the thing is, as this is climate, the stupid bint, right, is watering the plants too much, and it's actually killing them off. So I'm actually going to use this as an interpretation that the bee can't draw the necessary pollen from them to give it life, because they're, she's watering them too much. So she's taking advantage of the nice weather, and we as a bee cannot use the food for food. So now we're going to take our D3 and to see how much of our food we lose. 3. So that takes from 4 to 1. Damn, Daniel. Okay, so it doesn't look like that we're going to survive this all that well, but you never know, we never know. So we're on to the third encounter now, so we have to roll the D4 again to see what that entails. 4. Famine. I mean, that makes sense given what we've just described here. So let's roll our D100 again using Mythic to determine what's going to happen. Oh shit, 100. Fucking hell. Waste. Very appropriate here. You know, in all the times I've been rolling D100 for solo stuff and tables and whatnot, I've never rolled 100 before. That's... well, look at that. So, table number 2. 11. Damn, we're getting all the doubles. Advantage. Waste advantage. Well, what could this be? Waste advantage, in this sense, to me feels like this family is like in a quintessential British village, and there's like a farmyard, and somewhere around here they're flying around this, like, I don't know, like fucking manure that's being spread everywhere that's like killing stuff off, and the bumblebee bee face is unable to get any food because the one bit of pollen that they were able to get to easily was this woman's garden, which has just drowned everything. So the bee is unable to acquire what they need, and sort of they die of starvation, which is a very morbid end to this. I mean, there's no point rolling the D3 because our food was at 1, we were on famine, so I can't see that being anything else here. So yeah, that's basically a run of Take Flight, Little Bee. And to some people that may be quite unsatisfactory given how short that was. I mean, it's barely 15 minutes at this point. But the thing that I really like about this is how it just makes you stop and think for a moment. Like, sure, it's fun coming up with the different scenarios and interpreting different things, but it certainly made me think a bit more about bees. I mean, we all know that bees are dying, bees are a vital part of our life, and just interpreting different things, it just makes you think the different shit that they kind of go through, and just other insects in general, and just, you know, look outside and just how civilization is just dominating everything, and how we're destroying and murdering the wildlife and the planet around us, and not many people seem to be caring enough to do anything about it, or unable to do anything about it, and the positions empowered to do something about it don't. Like, you're following any of the news of like AI art or chat TTP, it's just, that just drains a lot more, and you know, energy and resources. The stuff that's happening in Gaza at the moment, and how the Israeli government have contributed to, you know, global warming with the horrific slaughter and the genocide that's happening there. Like, not wanting to take away from that at all, it's just, there's just so many elements to this. And, you know, just going back to this conversation regarding bees, you know, it's just a very short game with literally 24 words to describe its mechanics and its features, minus the bit that I read out, because that literally does not count. It wouldn't be in there if it didn't count towards the word count. But yeah, it's just very poetic, and as I said, kind of political. But if you want to try and give this out as a solo game, or try this out with, like, I don't know, a buddy or your partner or whatever, or I don't know, do a little one-shot with your little troop and see how long that lasts. I'd love to hear what you get up to with that, and I'm sure my partner would do too. So again, check out the game in the description below. Check out Mythic GM Emulator 2nd edition as well, so you can actually do this effectively using some tables and whatnot. Again, use the link there. I get some of the money back, and also check out the other bits and pieces I have there as well as the rest of the Lore by Night channel, where you can see various Lore Dice book reviews and other solo shenanigans. Until next time, farewell.